Welcome back to the weekend show. You're now watching the lifestyle segment. It's been a week of pouring tributes to the late Kobe Bryant, the great black mamba. May his soul rest in peace, along with the souls of the 8 others that died during the helicopter crash. It just reminds us to appreciate those we love during the time that we have with them. And speaking of appreciation, today is the birthday of someone who's very special to me and special to the weekend show, Dr. Ehi Oni. God bless you. Happy birthday. Thank you so much for your dedication to not just the weekend show, but raising my little baby. She's my sister, my little babies, my nieces, and God bless you. Happy birthday, and we wish you all the best. And thank you for decorating our studios every year during the Christmas holiday. We look forward to what you have planned during the Easter break. So the topic in the lifestyle discussion today is eradicating malaria in Africa. On Wednesday, December 18th, 2019, Prince Ned Nwoko, through his foundation, formally began an audacious journey towards a malaria-free Nigeria and Africa at large. In the project, he vowed to work with national and multilateral organizations to achieve results. He equally pledged to collaborate with governments, private organizations, and civil society organizations towards achieving his core objective of extending malaria intervention programs beyond the threshold of control and palliative measures. Malaria being basically an African challenge today, Prince Ned Nwoko believes Africans ought to be in the driving seat in the quest for a permanent solution to the age-long scourge. Joining us in today's program to discuss this, we have
with us the project director of the Ned Nwoko Malaria Elimination Project, Chuks Anyaduba. Welcome to the Weekend Show, Chuks.
Thank you very much.
Chuks, when I look at the statistics of malaria, not just in Nigeria but in Africa, yeah, I'm actually alarmed. You know, for example, in Nigeria, malaria contributes to 11% of maternal mortality. 100 million malaria out of 100 million malaria cases yearly, 300,000 lead to death. So 300,000 people die every year due to malaria. What does the Ned Nwoko Foundation intend to do about this?
Thank you very much. I'm glad you have those statistics with you. I mean, malaria is a problem in Africa. And considering our population, it is a very huge problem in Nigeria. So the Ned Nwoko Foundation has set forth to, attempt to address that problem by embarking on this project to eradicate malaria in Africa. And we have 2 silent strategies we want to achieve to do that. One of them is environmental fumigation and cleanup of the entire country. That is what we are proposing. Secondly is the long-term goal, which is to discover a vaccine. So Prince Ned himself, through the foundation, intends to fund a research in Africa to discover the malaria vaccine. The plan is to engage institutions in Africa, up to 5. Currently we're working on doing an extensive research to discover which of the institutions in Africa that can actually power that research. So basically, we want to achieve this malaria eradication in Africa by calling for an environmental cleanup of the entire country. It must be done simultaneously. Fumigation, environmental cleanup, and then funding the vaccine for the malaria eradication.
Okay.
So I understand the importance of this, and it's great that we're having this conversation because just earlier, Osasa and I were discussing this, and we found out that the deaths as a result of malaria is even more than HIV.
That's correct.
And AIDS. Here, looking at Nigeria as a case study. But you also spoke about funding research, looking for a vaccine. In 2018, there was a report saying there may be a vaccine to eliminate malaria. As opposed to funding fresh research, what happens to collaborating with other bodies or international agencies that are already close to some results, especially saying that this is an African problem majorly. We should see it as priority, but what happens to collaborating with those people already doing extensive work in that field as opposed to fresh research?
Okay, that's correct. Like you said, late 2018, there was a vaccine that was discovered for malaria, the RTSS. Okay, that's what it's called. And then early 2019, they started trials in Malawi, Ghana, and Kenya. Okay, so part of our strategy is not to start from the scratch. Okay, we want to develop on what is already in existence. So what we are doing now is to look at some of those vaccines that have been discovered. However, the RTSS vaccine doesn't have 100% performance. You know, it has been tried by WHO. It's still on the trial stage. It's said to be less than 50%. You know, and it's just for persons, babies, so to speak, between the ages of 0 to 18 months. You know, so there is no standard vaccine for malaria. So what we want to do is to engage some of those research institutions and organizations and persons in Africa or across the world who have already done something on, you know, discovering a vaccine, and then improve on that. So we don't intend to start from the scratch. Like you said, we intend to leverage on what is already in place and then see how we can improve on that. There has been a lot of scientific developments. There's been a lot of research going on in malaria. You know, developing vaccines for parasites is actually very difficult. So we are aware of that. So the research strategy is not to start from scratch. We want to leverage on what has been done before and then improve on it. But like I said, it's one of the strategies.
Yeah, so in that vein, can you talk to us more about your long-term and short-term goals? Because when someone hears the vision of the foundation, which is to eradicate poverty in the entire Africa, it looks a bit ambitious, you know, but if you can talk to us more about what are some measures that you're putting in place to ensure that in the short term, we can see some of the dividends of this vision of the Prince Ned Nwoko Foundation.
Okay, the short-term goal is the environmental cleanup and fumigation of the whole Nigeria. Now, this is malaria eradication projects in Africa. We want to eradicate malaria in Africa, but then we have to start from somewhere, and we're starting from Nigeria. Charity, they say, begins at home. So, as we're starting from Nigeria, first, the short-term goal, we want to fumigate the entire country and do environmental cleanup. Prince Ned Nwoko was in Antarctica in January. He went on a symbolic mission to Antarctica. Specifically, he met some scientists, you know, and then he met a company in Canada that does spraying, fumigation, you know. So the scientists he met in Antarctica are also part of people that are conducting research in various stages because they have research-based stations in Antarctica. So we plan to, for the short-term goal quickly, we plan to engage everyone, the media, advocacy groups, international communities, NYSC, the police, the military, you know, on this massive campaign and advocacy and enlightenment of citizens as to what needs to be done. Now, the idea of the environmental cleanup and sanitation is that it has to be done at once. Okay, so we want to make communities stakeholders of the environment. We want to make them to believe that this is what needs to be done. You know, it is our thing. We have to kill malaria. You know, there are a lot of strategies during that fumigation that we want to do. There's what we call the larviciding. You know, that's discovering the breeding spaces of mosquitoes in the areas which are swampy areas, stagnant waters, and all of that. You larvicide, you kill the larvae. They don't develop to the full-blown mosquitoes. So these are part of the strategies. And then we have the IRS, the indoor residual spray, which is an intervention for malaria eradication, you know, globally. So there are a lot of strategies that have been itemized for the short-term goal, and it's very achievable, but it has to be done simultaneously. It has to be done at once. So moving to the long-term goal, which is funding and research, you know, we already in touch with some professors in Nigeria. Currently, they're developing a guideline, a framework on how institutions can actually assess those research. You know, it's stage by stage. Like you said, we just launched this project in December. There's a lot that is going on right now. So the research project process is working with persons who have actually done something before and then improving on it, looking at possibilities of having external funding, because we can't do the funding research on malaria is a lot of money. You know, he has set up the sum of $750,000 for 5 institutions in Africa to do this research. But it's like a seed capital. We're going to get international donors and going to get people to support. But this is like from him, a seed capital that this is what needs to be done. So we're looking at research stations in Africa. There is one in Kenya, there's one in Burkina Faso, and all of that. Now, extending it across Africa, you know, we are planning a diplomatic briefing, you know, in Nigeria, talking about briefing all the diplomatic bodies and missions in Nigeria in Africa as to what we're about to do, so that we can get a gateway into their country.
Most definitely. Thank you so much. What a laudable initiative. Kudos to you. Kudos to Prince Ned Nwoko himself and everyone else involved in this initiative. We do hope to see your vision and your mission to its fruition. Thank you to our viewers across the world for watching. You can follow us on social media at Weekend Show NG on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You could visit our website, weekendshowng.com, to watch all segments of the Weekend Show. Helping us to sign out today, we have Austin. Take it away.